Welcome back to the Elevate With Us podcast, and we are really in for a treat today. If you're in real estate, you understand how amazing it is to be with somebody that's been in real estate since 1988. He's owned his own real estate brokerage with 7 offices and has an incredible story to share with us today. I am so excited to welcome Danny Hernandez to the podcast today. So Danny, thank you so much for coming, because I know you had to travel here, which we so appreciate it. So tell us a little about your story.
Well, first of all, thank you, Tanya, for inviting me. It was really exciting to receive that text during vacation. Hey, can you come on to a podcast for me?
Love that you were answering text on vacation. True realtor
Money
right
doesn't
there.
sleep. Remember that. Money doesn't sleep. But super excited. I want to congratulate you on your success and your opening here in St. Augustine and the one in Jacksonville. And now we got, which one?
Palm Coast coming up. Palm Coast
right,
coming up.
That's right.
Really close to finally getting some office space.
Good.
Looked at some last week and really
That's
close.
That's great. In fact, we're about 21 offices in the state of Florida.
21.
21
Amazing.
offices. When I started, we had only 13.
Wow.
And that was only 2.5 years ago, so you can imagine.
Yeah.
It's really, really exciting for us in the
For sure.
sun and sunny state of Florida.
I'm sunny Florida.
Yes. So, ask away.
So really would love to just know more about you and your story. You've been in real estate for a long time,
Yes.
which says a lot, right? The average realtor stays in the business 2 to 5 years, and you've had quite a journey. So can you tell us a little bit about that journey of how you got started? Because it's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah, you just heard the whole clip on it. But I'll give you a short version of it. I started in real estate back in '88. Started selling condos out of the beach in North Miami Beach and Aventura at a very young age. In fact, I had an afro back then, believe it or not.
Oh my gosh.
But
We're gonna
this
have
is
to
what
find,
real estate does to you after a while.
We're gonna have to find pictures.
But think about it. Back in '88, you've been through what, maybe 3 to 4, cycles in real estate,
Sure.
which has been kind of unique, and we're going through one as we speak now, which is one that we haven't actually never seen before. And that's the beauty of real estate, is that it's an unforeseen, I guess.
Sure.
And you got to kind of adapt to the changes in the market and the changes in the industry. And thank God I've been very fortunate to, ride this wave and kind of navigate the waters, as you will say, to make sure that you're successful. Because anybody could be a good agent during the great times, but, show me an agent during the bad times, a good agent.
Absolutely.
That's really what kind of sets you apart from being good to great. And I'll talk about that a little bit more, because I've read that book and I resonate a lot with that book. Anybody could be good, but, who can be great,
Right.
So, yes. So back to my story, I started back in '88. It's kind of a unique story. I don't really talk about it much in public, but I did start back in North Miami Beach with the gentleman that helped me out. I truly appreciate that gentleman. His name is Artie Mann. Him and his son Eric, who is like a brother to me, they used to work for Turnberry back in Miami Beach. They're big, huge developers in Turnberry. In fact, they're the ones that built the Atlantis Resort in the Bahamas in Nassau, which is the largest casino outside of Vegas in the Caribbean. Yes.
I had no idea.
Yes.
I've never been.
Yeah.
Clearly I need to add it to my list.
You got to look it up.
I got to go. Oh, no, I know about it. My kids like the commercials.
Yeah.
Where they go through a glass tunnel, like a water slide or something.
Water slide. Yes. I was actually selling the only residential condos on the islands, Paradise Islands called.
Wow.
A lot of people believe that Atlantis is just that one building, but it's actually 5 different buildings.
I had no idea.
Yeah, pretty unique story there. But I sold it out, and this gentleman really kind of catapulted my career, where he basically taught me some basic principles that I hold dear and near to my heart today, which is, about wealth, creating wealth, and living below your means, not having debt. And that's kind of what I try to, project or educate our real estate practitioners, not only within our brand, but outside our brand as well.
Sure.
Because at the end of the day, we all have a job, and we have a common job, which is changing lives and putting families in homes, right?
Well,
That's
sure,
what we do.
and to help them build wealth.
Yeah, absolutely.
With that,
building wealth through home ownership,
Correct.
right? And I always thought, not having debt. And, I was one of those guys that went through the Dave Ramsey program.
Sure.
I was actually one of them that actually called online and said, "Hey, I'm debt free." you know.
No way.
Yes, I was, because I always wanted to be that way. I didn't want to have that financial pressure. And I truly believe that to this day, if you don't have that financial pressure on you, you will sell more. And that's, I kind of predict that. Not that I predicted it, but I kind of learned that. And that's been my ways is teaching agents, live below your means. You'll sell more because people really know if you're financially in distress.
Well, it's kind of the energy you portray,
Yes,
right? Like they say
yes.
that vibe. Like, have you ever been in a room and somebody comes in and they kind of like electrify it in a good way? They're so positive and they feel good about themselves or whatever. And then you have the opposite. You've got like the Debbie Downer that walks in the room.
Oh my
And you can
God.
just
Your
feel the
demeanor,
energy
right?
shift. Like, you
Yeah.
can kind of feel it go up and down. And so I'm sure that if you're in front of customers and you're trying to sell them a house and you're all, if I don't get paid, if I don't get this commission, it's ugh. As opposed to you don't really care. If you sell them a house, it's going to be great and it could change their life, but that commission is going to make or break you. That's got to completely...
You project that. People
you
look in your eyes and
completely
they're,
change
he's
it.
late on his T-Mobile bill. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's like
Yeah, they
stuff
call
like
it
that.
commission
because
breath. I talk to the agents about it all the time. You can't go into... We're in a relationship business. Sometimes those relationships lead to sales. Sometimes they don't. And that's okay.
Yeah.
If you're in the relationship business as opposed to the selling business, I always think you're going to be more successful.
Absolutely. You do business with people who you like and who you have
Like
a
versus
good
like.
relationship,
Mhm.
right? That's what we're in. We're really in the relationship business. It just so happens we do real estate.
Correct.
And it just so happens that we create wealth through home ownership.
Yeah.
So it's kind of all intertwined with
Yeah.
each other.
It's all related.
Pretty fun job. I believe that real estate is the best job that you can be out there because you can wake up unemployed. You are waking up unemployed every day.
Every day I'm unemployed every single
Every
day. Yeah.
day. But you have the ability to make six figures or more, or to set your own pace, or to set your own lifestyle. That's the beauty about real estate.
Absolutely. Well, because everybody, there's always a need,
Yes.
right? It's an essential part of life is
Yes.
somewhere to live. So
Yes.
the nice thing is that it's, it's recession proof. There's people always
Absolutely.
buying and selling. You've just got to figure out how to find them. And that's where the magic is, right?
That's where the magic
That's
is.
where the magic is.
And
Absolutely.
in the state of Florida, it's even more fun. And I say this more fun because we live in Florida. And when you mention Florida, regardless if you're here domestically in the U.S. or internationally, there's only two things that the majority of people think of as Disney and the beach.
Absolutely. And they think everybody lives there. Like
Right?
everybody lives either at Disney
Yeah.
or at the beach. There's no other Florida.
So, it's funny because I get to, in my role as Senior Director of Global Development, I get to travel abroad.
Sure.
And I kind of say the same story when I'm speaking outside the United States for Realty ONE Group. And I say to people, as long as that mouse keeps on, you know what, let's say it this way. As long as children keep being born, I think that mouse is going to keep on still building.
Right, exactly.
So,
yeah, yeah.
that's not going to stop.
Yeah, no, it's so funny. Like if, I've lived in other parts of the country, when you tell people either you're moving to Florida or you live in Florida, and they go to Disney, they're like, can you come see me? I'm like 2.5 hours away.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, but I'm in Florida. And I'm like, have you seen the state?
It's like down the block.
It's like real big. It's like not that small that Disney's just not like, oh, I can
Yeah.
just be in Disney today. But it really does help. I mean, we've got so many people moving here. It's such a destination for so many different people because it is an amazing place to live. It really does help real estate big
Absolutely.
time. Absolutely. It helps real estate big time. So you've been a broker owner.
Yes. So after my departure from the Atlantis, I opened up my brokerage. I had several offices, 7 all throughout, South America, the Bahamas, and in Miami and Orlando. I was an independent. I never believed in a brand. And it's sad that I say that, to be honest with you. I wish I knew Realty ONE Group when I first opened up.
Sure.
But unfortunately, I didn't. And I'm fortunate that I actually found them 2.5 years ago because of the same story.
Yeah, no, the story is really powerful. Where can they find that story? If they were to look you
They
up?
can't really find it
They
anywhere.
can't. The whole story's like really good. I mean, really, it's really inspiring. I mean, we've had a lot of people come on the podcast that have similar backgrounds of, not being set up for success in life.
Yeah.
And what I love is that you don't let your past define you. You
So
definitely
true.
could have made some really poor life choices. And even if you were a realtor and had been really successful, you still could have made really poor life choices and spent all your money on all the things when, the sales are really high. But it doesn't sound like that's what you did. because that gentleman taught you something really good that I wrote down, that wealth isn't what you make, it's what you keep.
Yes.
So you could make a lot of money, but if you spend all of it, you're not wealthy.
Yeah.
So that life lesson right there is so important. And I think that a lot of realtors right now are in a struggle bus on that, because they were so used to, for so many years, sales being so easy. They didn't save appropriately for when it would cycle, because it always does.
Yeah.
I mean, it always does. You can only be high for so long, right? It had to cycle. Was it kind of abrupt? Maybe. And people weren't ready. But, when you live in a world or a business that's all commission based, you've always got to be preparing.
You always got to be prepared. You always got to not think in the now, but think in the future.
Correct.
That's how it makes you, not good, but great. And you see me repeat that.
Yeah.
I've always was one of those type of brokers, realtors that if the majority of the realtors practitioners went this way, well, I went the opposite way.
Love it.
I didn't want to be in the same pool as everybody else. I want to be in a different pool.
You want to differentiate yourself.
Yes, I want to set myself, I like to do things out of the box.
Yeah.
I was not that, even when I was part of the associations, I was telling them, I'm very vocal. I'm going to do things my way. And it actually became very successful because of that. People like people that do things differently. You don't want to be in that monotonous thing, the same routine. It's never the same. The cycle's never the same. The cycle's always different. We've been through 4 cycles, and they're all been different.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. So you've had your own brokerage. You were president of your local association of realtors.
Yes.
What was that like?
So I volunteered because I wanted to learn more about, the behind the scenes of why there is an association. And I did volunteer. I became president of our local association, which is in Kissimmee, Florida, Osceola County Association of Realtors. I kind of think things a little bit differently. I started with the National Association of Realtors. I became active with them, became on the national coach, became on the national director.
Wow.
And because of that, that relationship with the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, which is today called NAREP.
NAREP, yep.
I was the liaison between NAREP and NAR, the National Association of Realtors.
Wow.
And if you notice that in order to ascend into the National Association of Realtors, you kind of have to start from your local, then it goes to state, and then it goes to the national.
That's what one would assume.
That's how it usually is. I went the opposite. So I started with
You're right. You do things differently every time.
So the last thing I did was the local presidency of our county. Then I became district vice president of Florida Realtors for our region.
Oh, wow.
And I became an instructor as well for the state of Florida. I actually wrote the fair housing course that you take for the state of Florida as well.
I'm in the process of getting certified to do that. I took the class thanks to you.
I think I recommended you.
You did recommend that I do it, and the class was amazing.
Isn't it?
It was really, really great. You want to hear something funny? When I went, I just, picked a random seat, and there were 3 broker owners from North Florida. We all sat next to each other, all women broker owners.
Wow.
3 in a row.
Seriously.
So one introduced herself, and then the second one did. And then when I went, I said, you guys are not going to believe this, but I'm also a broker owner from North Florida. And then the instructor was like, how many are there of you? It was only us. But we were the first people to talk in 3 in a row, 3 female broker owners. And what's so cool is we've now formed a broker owner group in North Florida where we all get together once a month to talk about things.
Do you see?
So, and it was so cool because it came out of that, serendipitous meeting at this 2-day class. And I wouldn't have known them. They're both independents, which is great, smaller companies, but our paths would have never crossed if it wasn't for that class.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people don't know. You need to go get educated out there. Go to the local associations. Go to the classes.
Yes.
You want to educate yourself, especially nowadays, especially all the noise that's going on, especially at the NAR. You want to educate yourself. Yeah. So if you're a realtor listening to this, educate yourself, because times are challenging and you want to be that 1%er. You don't want to be that average agent.
No, for sure. And, you're learning from people that have probably sold a little bit more real estate than you, or real estate differently. And you can learn from everybody.
Absolutely.
And I always tell people, if you're not learning, you're dead. I don't mean like you're dying. I mean, your business is dying.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's always changing. There's always new things. There's new things going on. There's a different way, a little tweak in your conversation that you might have never thought of, that you might learn from sitting next to someone new that you didn't meet before.
Absolutely.
It is so important to do that, and I don't think many realtors take advantage of it enough. I think instead what they want is they want a quick fix, and they want some type of technology or some tech tool or some AI to do something for them, when they forget that we're people and this is a relationship business, and the tech's supportive.
Yeah.
It needs to be there. We definitely need technology, but you need to be learning and doing things to figure out how to make it work
Absolutely.
for you,
Absolutely.
or else you're no better than a computer.
That's one of the beauties about our brand, which
It
obviously
is.
I'm super proud that you decided to
Oh,
join our
love
brand.
it, love it, love it, love it here.
We have the Waking Up to Win calls
Yes.
every week, that just not some, learning department where they give you an avatar and you just go online and kind of figure out where to go.
Nope.
No, this is live person. Kathy Baker, Mark Pesson are the best at it. And they really, really, get involved. And that's one of the differences that sets us apart from, I'm sorry if I'm getting off a track here.
You're good. This is what I want to talk about. This is perfect.
That's one of the things that sets us apart from a lot of the brands, is that you get that personal touch.
Right.
And you have to today.
Well, and you're not just working with Florida realtors, right? On those calls, we've got people from all over the country, which I think is really, really important. I mean, real estate might be a little bit different in a different area, but in the end, it's the same.
In the end, it's the same. Absolutely.
And I always say we're better together, and those connections that you can make, and the speakers they bring in.
It's unreal.
Unbelievable.
Run crazy. Hey, it's getting a lot of traction, especially in the state of Florida, because most brands don't do this.
Right.
And we kind of started opening it up to a lot of other agents that are trying to look and say, hey, wait a minute, their agents are getting this attention from their leadership. We have what's called, when I say we, I mean Realty ONE Group, what's called the inverted pyramid. Most brokerages work with, here's the owner, the president, the CEO, the vice president, so on and so forth, right? And then the agents are on the very bottom.
Right.
Well, we have what's called the inverted pyramid, which is one of the things that I learned from Vinny Tracy, where the agent's on top and actually the owner, the founder's on the very bottom, because our bread and butter is our agents.
Correct. Absolutely. It's so funny. Most agents, because we're a newer brand here in Northeast Florida, they think it's too good to be true.
Yes.
They don't understand. They're like, yeah, no thanks. You're lying. You're a joke. You're joking. There's no way it can be like this. And they don't understand that, the idea of having this much training and this much support while keeping so much of their commission. There's a hook. There's got to be something, but it's not. And they don't understand that leadership is so available. To me as a broker owner, I get so much support, which allows me to support them, because I'm never left hanging. Ever. If there's ever anything I need, I mean, I call you.
Yeah.
You answer.
Yeah.
You're not like, hey, I'm busy. Like,
I text you on my vacation?
On vacation. Exactly. So it's just so amazing. So can you tell me about how you got involved with Realty ONE Group?
It just so happens that I was speaking at a gig, and because I was also on a speaking tour with real estate. They always ask me to go speak at different parts of the United States, which I really enjoyed. But needless to say, one of my dear friends at NARP was leaving a certain brand, and I won't mention it, was going to Freddie Mac. And she had said to me, Danny, a dear friend of mine, and she goes, Danny, I think you'd be good in the corporate world. And I was like, I don't know if I really want to do that.
It's like the opposite of real estate, right? Like you're a 9-to-5er.
I'm like... I'm doing pretty well for myself, but I wanted to really kind of. I found it intriguing that she said, "I think you fit good in this role." So I went ahead and she kind of set me up to do an interview with this brand, which is one of the largest brands out here now. And I was sitting there with the gentleman, and just so happens it was in Newark, New Jersey, which is where I was born and raised.
Sure.
And I'm sitting here with him, and I just didn't feel the vibe, and I was like, I don't know if I was uneasy because the last time I left Jersey,
wasn't the best circumstances.
So it kind of like a little nightmare going on there. And I said to him, thank you for the opportunity, but no, thank you. I used to live about 30 minutes from here, and I'm going to go by that neighborhood because that's who I am, and I'm really kind of proud of what I've done in my life. And the last time I left here wasn't in good circumstances. I was in a bad
So
situation.
it kind of feels like you'd go backwards.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel good.
It didn't feel good.
Yeah.
So they offered me pretty good money and to leave my brokerage and everything. I was just like, no.
And at that time, you were an owner of an independent
I was always an independent. Yes,
Got it.
Yes. So 2 years later, it just so happens that a headhunter had called me and said, "Hey, the same headhunter that they had me use and the previous brokerage that was trying to hire me, they made me go through a headhunter.
Okay.
It just so happens the headhunter's my neighbor. Get this, right?
And did you know that?
No, I did not know that. I mean, not that my neighbor, he lives in my neighborhood, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So we became best of friends,
Sure.
right? 2 years later, I'm hanging out in Vegas with my dear friends. It was a guys' weekend after a conference, so we just stayed a couple of days, and we're at a pool party and so on and so forth. And the headhunter
Living
calls
your
me.
best life in Vegas.
Yes, and headhunter calls me and says, "Hey, there's an opportunity for you again, and I think you're perfect for this."
Of course he does.
And of course, and
Yeah.
I go, "I'm in Vegas." And he goes, "Perfect. Let me set you up with a call." Sure enough, about a week later, Vinny Tracy calls me.
Vinny Tracy, what a great
and
guy.
Eddie Sturgeon.
And Eddie.
Yes. And sure enough, it took about 4 or 5 months. And I was kind of convinced already at the second Zoom meeting because of the culture, the branding. I started looking up who was
Really
Realty
fun
ONE
stuff,
Group.
right? Really
Yeah.
fun.
I started actually Googling who's Realty ONE Group because
Sure.
I've never had heard of them, just what you were saying.
Right,
We're kinda
because
new.
in Florida, like they kind of, because I get that question a lot. Like,
Yeah.
we never heard of you. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, we're not new.
Yeah.
They're just very careful and strategic about growth.
I mean, we've been in existence 17 years now.
Yeah, it's just
So
really,
it's
and
just-
if you're in the West Coast, you know
Yeah.
us a lot more. And then we've just kind of moved east.
Well, 7 years ago, well, now going on 8, prior to Vinny Tracy, almost like as soon as Vinny Tracy came on board, which was about 8 years ago,
Yes.
we had only 45 offices
Yeah.
west of Mississippi. Now we have
Oh,
over
wow.
400 offices throughout the United States, and we're in almost 20 countries now.
20 countries.
I mean,
And that's a big part of your role.
I mean, when I came on board, we weren't in any countries.
None.
No,
None.
that was 2.5 years ago.
So in 2.5 years,
We're in 20 countries.
we're in 20 countries.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Which
That
is what no other brand has done.
is
And
super incredible.
Let me tell you something.
I'm
now
ready.
that we're talking about that, we're in 20 countries without spending a dime in marketing. It's all word of mouth.
All word of mouth referrals.
Yeah, all
It's all
word of mouth.
referrals.
So
all
you can imagine
referrals.
that. But going back a little bit, 45 states west of Mississippi 8 years ago. And from 8 years on, now we're at 400 offices. And we're about on pace to this year to 500 offices by the end of this year.
500 offices
Yes.
by the end of 2023.
2023, yes.
Wow. So we
Yeah.
got some cooking.
Yeah.
We got some cooking. I don't know
We're
about 'em
rocking
yet.
and rolling. But, I want to really answer your question. I don't want to avoid it or
No, we're
anything like
good.
that because people are, who's Realty ONE Group? At the end of the
Yes.
day, you have to start somewhere. These other brands started somewhere.
Everyone
Yeah,
did. Yeah, everyone
everybody
started
did.
somewhere. Yeah.
Nobody really did. Nobody really knew what the big red balloon was or the big KW or the 3 symbol. Nobody knew all these brands
Well,
back
no,
then.
no, of course not.
You start somewhere. The good thing about our brand is that Kuba, who's our founder, kind of picked the best of the best from different places.
Well, he did
And
a
he
good
kind
job.
of put them all together.
Yeah.
And he made Realty ONE Group.
Yep.
And, Kuba has such a fresh mind because he's a youngster as well.
Yeah.
Kuba's only 45 years
Yeah.
old. So he's got these fresh minds. In our marketing department, all you see is these fresh minds, these young kids coming out of college with these fresh minds. So we're kind of like the new iPhone out there, even though we've been out there for 17 years. And now that we're starting making noise, so you really think about it, we're like the new iPhone with the fresh minds.
Sure, we're fresh and modern.
If you really look at what
Yeah.
I'm talking about,
Yeah,
the
no, I
majority of
totally
the
get
brands
it.
out there are from 2005 and beyond. We're from 2005 and forward.
Right.
So fresh minds,
Yeah,
fresh
no.
look.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we appeal to everybody.
Mhm.
There's no one that
Absolutely.
isn't a good fit, if that makes sense. But I think young people, it really resonates with them. I think they love that it's online and in person.
Yeah.
There's offices, right? And a lot of the other brands out there, that's their claim to fame, is that they're all in the cloud and there's no offices and you don't need an office and you can meet people on Zoom. But we talked about this. We're in a relationship business. Do you want to have a relationship with a computer only? Do you never want to have a broker that you can go to? Do you never want to have an in-person meeting? Sure, it's great to be able to do both.
Yeah.
But isn't it nice to be with people? Isn't that what this is all about? How do you have relationships with Zoom?
Exactly.
I mean, you can, but like, really?
Yeah. Now, and we're going back to that now.
Yeah.
Now that the COVID's over, we have to go back to that, that FaceTime, that one-on-one, that relationship.
Yep.
We're kind of going back in time per se. But just to go back a little bit further, most of these brands, and I can say this with true honesty, our leadership knows every single owner by name.
Yeah.
Our leadership, I mean, talking from the owner to the president, to the vice president, they know their owners and every office by first name, and some of them know their families as well.
Oh, I mean, when I've met Kuba a couple times. He's so humble and gracious.
A good guy, huh?
Gosh, I mean, I feel like I should just hug him every time I see him because
he loves hugs.
And he's like, but he's so kind. He doesn't feel like pompous. He's so grateful, and he thanks us.
Yes.
He's like, thank you so much for being a part of Realty ONE Group. Really? Thank you for allowing me to be part of it. I mean, I feel like I should be thanking him.
Think about what you just said. What other brand's owner actually would say that to an affiliate?
I've met him. They
probably don't even know their affiliates.
No. I mean, I've met him at both base camps, and both base camps he's come up to both Sam and I and been seriously hugged us and shook our hand so graciously for being a part of that organization. And it's humbling because he's so humble. He doesn't need to be. I mean, he's done really well.
He's the owner. He doesn't need to call you. He doesn't.
No, he doesn't need to show up.
He'll just show up.
Fairness.
He'll call up. I'm telling you a little secret about Cuba.
Oh, I want to know.
He's very involved in the owners' lives. I mean, he talks to owners. The owner of our brand, Realty ONE Group, Cuba, will speak to you guys as broker owners, and call you up and say, how are you doing? Not only domestically, but internationally.
Super cool. Like, I would love to get to know him better. I hope to, because he just has a cool story, right? He just has a really cool story. They seem like, him and his wife seem like super amazing people. I love following him on social media.
Yeah. He's all about culture, which is one of our 6 C's, which is obviously, that.
Yep.
Those are the founding blocks of our organization.
You'll find them on this wall.
Yes. All the 6 C's here. And, we talk about our 6 C's, which is one of the things that Vinny talks about, that all the brands can copy our 6 C's except for one, which is our culture. Not culture, our culture.
Right.
Which is
He's
very
not
different.
saying it wrong.
Yes, it's not.
It's culture.
Culture.
It's not culture. COOL.
That's right. That's right. Keep it right. So that's one of the unique things about our company. We don't wear ties. None of us do. Ties.
Branded
We're about
t-shirts.
our branding, black and gold.
Yeah, black and gold all the way, baby.
Our one manifesto. Our cares. We celebrate each other.
Absolutely.
We're not like the majority of the brands that are driven by. And Kathy says this the best. Kathy says, we are a brand that is driven by not Wall Street, but my Main Street. And who's Main Street? Our practitioners, our broker owners, realtors.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you've been with Realty ONE for 2.5 years.
Correct.
And you're in charge of global development.
Right. So I kind of manage or oversee all of our broker owners in the state of Florida as an affiliate development. I wear several roles with Realty ONE Group. And then obviously I'm involved in the international growth of Realty ONE Group as well.
What is real estate like internationally, as opposed to, like, I'm assuming they have their own rules. Is every country different, or does like Europe have their own thing and South America have their own thing? That fascinates me because people are always like, oh, can I buy real estate there? I'm like, sure, let me find you someone.
To be totally honest, real estate is totally different. Totally different from us. There's kind of not really a lot of buyer's agents per se. It's more of a listing agent.
Okay, so kind of like old school real estate.
Old school. It's all newspaper, Facebook now, for sale signs.
Newspaper.
And the reason why I say that is because there is no MLS. That's correct. No MLS.
There's no MLS internationally?
There's no MLS.
What?
Yes. So you can imagine a world without MLS.
So how do they find when homes are for sale? They have to go to
you'll see the for sale signs. You'll see in the newspapers.
So it'll like old school where like the Realty ONE Group has like a page in the newspaper and you'll see the homes for sale.
A lot of broker owners have their own like websites, but they promote it on Facebook,
Sure.
on any social media, any newspapers.
Wow.
Yes, that's how it's done.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and then the splits are totally different. The
Oh,
majority of the splits with between brokers and owners, you're looking at 50-50 as a standard. Yeah, and your
that's
commissions,
incredible.
are usually about 1 to 2, maybe 3%,
Totally
if that.
different.
Some countries are a little bit more advanced. I know, for example, like Mexico and Costa Rica and some other countries in Europe are creating this new MLS, which is called Omni MLS. It's not our regular MLS, but it's getting there. Something better than what they have, which is nothing.
Nothing.
But yeah, so they're getting up there.
That's incredible. So, and you might not know the answer to this. So, are there the time to sell a property? Does it take longer? Because it has to be like old school advertising.
Yes,
It
it
can't
does
be
take
like,
longer.
so here in North Florida right now, we're averaging like
Usually,
67 days. I mean, it's going to take 67 days to get marketing out there.
yeah, unfortunately, it is like that.
Wow.
Yes, and they don't have like title companies per se. It's usually a notary or an attorney. There's no such thing as
Do
title
they have
companies.
contracts like fill in the blank contracts like us, or does everything have to go through an
Some of them
attorney?
have some standard contracts. Some of them are handwritten contracts between the owner and the
Oh my gosh,
old
this
school.
is so
Yes,
fascinating.
it's pretty unique. The owner will pay, the seller, the listing agent cash, and then sometimes the buyers pay the buyer's agents, their commission. So you can imagine that. Yes.
So I'm imagining loans are completely different there as
A
well.
little bit different, almost similar, but a little bit different. Each country is different. Yes.
Oh, wow. That's
There's-
incredible.
Yeah, their credit system is totally opposite, which is really, really unique. But keep in mind that the majority of these people have the same commonalities we do as real estate practitioners.
Sure,
Here,
I
they
mean-
want to put families in homes.
Yeah.
Eh, But think about this: the majority of the brands that are out there, especially our brand, which is Realty ONE Group, especially internationally, we have something what's called, our Realty ONE Group. You can see our maps page, and you can see the coin in different countries, and you
Yes.
can click on
Yeah.
that coin, and it give you all the information about who that broker is and what their agents are, and how their listings, and so on and so forth. So we're really transparent. We really want to bridge that gap between the world and Realty ONE Group in the United States. So we're really good about that part, being very transparent. You can see what our master brokers and offices are doing outside the United States.
Sure.
That you can refer here in the United States, because the majority of the people outside the United States, they want to buy a piece of property inside the United
In the
States, and
US, yeah.
especially in Florida.
In Florida.
Because it's easier to get to Florida than any other part of the United States, because of, obviously, especially in South America and
Sure.
Europe, they just go to Miami. It's the gateway to the world. So
Yeah,
we found out that we really needed a good presence in the state of Florida if we really wanted to go internationally.
Stay tuned for part 2 of this Elevate with Us podcast.